Why we feel lost in modern society. It starts as a quiet hum in the background of your daily routine. You are sitting in traffic, or perhaps you are staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., the blue light of your phone casting a ghostly glow across the room. You have a job, you have friends, you have access to more entertainment and information than any emperor in history. On paper, everything is fine. But internally, there is a persistent, gnawing sensation that something is missing. It's not just sadness, it is a profound sense of disorientation. It is the feeling of being adrift in an ocean with no land in sight, despite having a GPS that tells you exactly where you are. We often blame ourselves for this feeling. We tell ourselves we aren't working hard enough, or we aren't grateful enough, or that we just need to fix our mindset. But the truth is far more complex and far less personal. If you feel lost, it is likely because you are trying to navigate a world that has fundamentally changed the map of human existence without giving us a new compass. We are living through a psychological experiment that no one signed up for, and the side effect is a collective sense of spiritual vertigo. One of the primary culprits is the paralysis of infinite potential. For most of human history, your identity was largely predetermined. If your father was a blacksmith, you were likely a blacksmith. You lived in the village where you were born, your community was fixed, and your moral framework was handed down to you. While this was restrictive and often oppressive, it provided a sturdy container for the self. You didn't have to wake up every morning and invent who you were. Today, we are burdened with the crushing weight of absolute freedom. We are told that we can be anything, do anything, and live anywhere. While this sounds like liberation, it often manifests as anxiety. When you can be anything, every choice you make implies the mourning of 1,000 other lives you could have lived. We are stuck in a state of perpetual FOMO, not just fear of missing out on a party, but fear of missing out on the right life. We treat our identities like curated avatars, constantly editing and optimizing, terrified that we have chosen the wrong career, the wrong partner, or the wrong hobby. We are exhausted not by the work we do, but by the work of deciding who to be. Furthermore, we have lost the sanctity of the unproductive moment. Modern society has convinced us that time is a currency to be spent, invested, or wasted. We have internalized the logic of the machine. If we aren't learning a new language while commuting, listening to a podcast while doing dishes, or monetizing our hobbies, we feel a pang of guilt. We have killed idleness. But idleness is where the soul breathes. It is in those empty, boring moments, staring out a train window, walking without a destination, sitting in silence, that we process our emotions and understand our own needs. By filling every microsecond with digital stimulation and productivity, we have severed the connection to our inner voice. We feel lost because we never stop long enough to ask ourselves where we actually want to go. We are simply running on a treadmill set to a speed determined by an algorithm, terrified that if we stop, we will fall off. This sense of dislocation is deepened by the erosion of third places. Sociologists talk about the first place, home, and the second place, work. But for distinct human happiness, we need third places. Neutral grounds like community centers, local pubs, parks, or coffee shops, where conversation is the main event and no productivity is required. Slowly, these spaces have been disappearing or have been commercialized into grab-and-go transactions. Without these physical anchors of community, we turn to the digital world. But digital connection is the junk food of socialization. It tastes good in the moment, but leaves you malnourished. We have followers, not friends. We have comments, not conversations. We perform our lives for an audience rather than sharing our lives with a village. This performance creates a deep dissonance. We see everyone else's highlight reel and compare it to our behind-the-scenes messiness. We feel like everyone else has the map, and we are the only ones wandering in the dark. The irony, of course, is that everyone else is looking at you and thinking the exact same thing. There is also the issue of compassion fatigue. We were not evolved to carry the weight of the entire world's suffering on our shoulders. 100 years ago, you knew the tragedies of your town. Today, you wake up and are immediately bombarded with high-definition images of war, famine, corruption, and disaster from every corner of the globe. We feel a moral obligation to care, but our emotional capacity is finite. The result is a psychic numbing. We feel small, helpless, and ineffective. We feel lost because the scale of the world's problems seems to render our individual existence meaningless. We ask, what is the point of my small life when the world is burning? This scale mismatch is a major driver of modern nihilism. So, where do we go from here? How do we find our footing? The answer isn't to retreat to a cabin in the woods, though that sounds nice, but to rebel against the modern narrative of optimization. We find ourselves by embracing the smallness of life again. We must reclaim our attention. It involves the radical act of doing things that don't scale, don't pay, and don't look good on Instagram. It means planting a garden that might die. It means cooking a dinner for friends where the food is burnt but the laughter is real. It means allowing yourself to be bored. It means realizing that you are not a project to be solved, but a person to be experienced. Feeling lost is actually a sign of health. It is your intuition telling you that the current map is wrong. It is a rejection of the artificial pace of modern life. If you feel lost, do not panic. It just means you have walked off the paved road that everyone else is marching down. And usually, the most interesting places and the truest version of yourself are found off the path, in the tall grass, where there is no GPS signal, but the air finally feels fresh. You aren't broken, you're just waking up. If this resonated with you, or if you've ever felt that specific kind of 3 a.m. loneliness we talked about, I'd love to hear your story in the comments below. Let's turn this comment section into a real community. Share what makes you feel grounded when the world feels chaotic. And if you want to join us for more deep dives into the human experience, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps us find each other in the noise. See you in the next one.